some thinking about what we might need to do next in the Spanish video series, and kind of what came to me was an idea where we did the basics part one, and we'll still build on that. But what had come to me was the idea of maybe doing something revolving around the five senses. And if we have time, we'll get into our Spanish A to Z for the dictionary. But if not, that's no big deal. That'll always be there. That's always something that I'll enjoy doing with everybody. But when it comes to the five senses, I went through and documented some different words that are related to the five senses. And just thought it might be something fun and functionally useful to go through. So your five senses, of course, being sound, sight, touch, smell, and taste. And right before we get started here, just kind of the standard plug or the standard request is, if you like this video or other videos of mine that you've watched, please leave them a like. If you are regularly watching or you're enjoying watching, please subscribe. That allows me to continue making videos for you all. And if you know anybody out there who enjoys ASMR like you do, and maybe would enjoy some of the different things that I talk about on my channel, if you'd be willing to share with them, I'd be extremely grateful. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. So we'll go with the first of the five senses. We'll go with sound. And again, these are just going to be different words. It's not going to be an all-encompassing list, but I thought it was a list that would be of value regarding words related to these different five senses. Alright, and the first one's going to be tranquilo, 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 which means quiet, quiet. Next word is ruidoso, ruidoso, and that means loud, ruidoso. Gritar is a verb, which means to shout, to shout. Escuchar is a verb that means to hear, to hear. Next is going to be silencio, silencio, which means silence or quiet. I have memories of my high school Spanish teacher saying to me, or saying to the class, silencio por favor, silencio por favor, when she was trying to get us to quiet down to start the lesson. Silencio. Alto, alto. In the context of sound, means tall, or means loud. When you're talking about height or describing something, to say that they're alto would mean tall. But when in regards to sound, it's going to be loud. And that logic applies for this next word. Bajo usually is short, but in this case, relating to sound, it's going to be soft, soft. And this next word is a good one, but it's kind of a mouthful. So it's going to be no, actually I think it has an E. Yeah, it has an E. And that's going to be ensordecador. Deafening. Deafening. Very, very loud. Deafening. Ensordecador. Next is going to be agudo, which is high-pitched. High-pitched. Or like a sharp sound. It's difficult sometimes to get a direct translation. Sometimes you're trying to convey a sentiment between languages. Next is going to be grave, low-pitched. is the idea that the word itself makes the sound it describes. And that's zumbido, which means buzz. Zumbido. Next word, sordo, is deaf. Deaf. And then next is going to be duro, which means hard. And duro de oíd. Duro de oíd. Hard of hearing. Hard of hearing. Duro de oíd. And then oído fino. That's acute hearing, or like fine-tuned hearing. Basically, you have to listen very closely. And then this is similar to hard of hearing, but you could say problemas de audición. And that's going to be hearing impaired. And again, as you can see, it's not a perfect list, but it's all relating to the senses. And then the last one is going to be fuera de alcance. That's out of earshot. Out of earshot. So that's going to be our sound words that I wanted to get through. So we've got tranquilo, quiet, ruidoso, loud, gritar, to shout, escuchar, to hear, silencio, silence, alto, loud, bajo, soft, ensordecador, deafening, agudo, high-pitched, grave, low-pitched, melodioso, melodious, armónico, harmonic, zumbido, buzz, sordo, deaf, duro de oíd, hard of hearing, oído fino, acute hearing, problemas de audición, hearing impaired, fuera de alcance, out of earshot, out of earshot. All right, let's move on to our next one. We're going to do sight next. Sight. Sight. We'll start with the verb ver. That means to see. Ver. Next is the verb mirar, which means to look. To look. Next is the expression de colores, which means colorful. De colores. Colorful. Also another expression, blanco y negro. How do some people see things? They see them black and white. Black and white. Next, brillante. Brillante. Bright. Next is apagado. And that's dim. 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 Apagado. Apagado. Claro is light. I've also seen that to mean clear, so it just depends. I've seen it both ways. Next, oscuro. Oscuro. And that means dark. Oscuro. 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 Next is ciego, which means blind. Blind. is mirar fijamente, and that means to stare. Mirar fijamente. Next, echar un vistazo. That is to glance. To glance. Next is bisquear. 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 That's gonna be with an. It's gonna be with. Let's see. Let me make sure. I thought I forgot a letter. Bisquear means to squint. To squint. Bisquear. Next is guiñar. Guiñar. To wink. To wink. And then last but not least is parpadear. And that means to blink. To blink. To blink. Alright, let's go through these again. Ver, to see. Mirar, to look. De colores, colorful. Blanco y negro, black and white. Brillante, bright. Apagado, dim. Claro, light or clear. Oscuro, dark. Ciego, blind. Mirar fijamente, to stare. Echar un vistazo, to glance. Bisquear, to make that cue a little bit more clear. Bisquear, to squint. Guiñar, to wink. And parpadear means to blink. So we've got sight and sound, or sound and sight, squared away. Let's move on to the next. Number 3. We'll do touch. Touch. We'll do that next. And we will start out with the verb tocar, which means to touch. Now, one thing to note on that verb is that if you're using that in the context of musical instruments, it would mean to play the instrument. But just mentioning that. Next is agarrar, which means to grab. Agarrar. Next is suave, soft. You might hear in the background a thunderstorm is very slowly rolling through. So if you like rain vibes, you'll hear that. You might hear that audio coming through. Suave, soft. Next is going to be aspero. Aspero. Rough. Aspero. Next is liso. Smooth. Liso. Rugoso. Wrinkled. And I remember that one because rugoso, I feel like, kind of looks like the word rugged. A bit of a stretch, but, work with me here. Work with me here. Next is going to be pegajoso. Pegajoso. Sticky. So saying that word's kind of sticky too. Pegajoso. Pegajoso. Sticky. Next is punzante, which means sharp. Punzante. Sharp. esponjoso, which is silky. Silky. And then this one is a fun one, I think. Make sure, slow down well enough to spell it right. Esponjoso. Spongy. Spongy. Next is mullido. Mullido. Fluffy. I feel like that word is just as pleasing in Spanish as it is in English. Fluffy. Mullido. Alright, and then this is the sensation of feeling something. Hormigueo. A tingle. A tingle, a tingle, a tingle, a tingle. Hormigueo. Rozar. To touch, but means gently or softly. Rozar. Rozar. Another sensation word. Entumecido. Entumecido means numb. Entumecido. Entumecido. Some of these words, it's like, that I can see how they're similar between languages. It's not perfect, but I get it. Next is acaricar. Acaricar. To caress. Acaricar. Acaricar. To caress. Acaricar. Acaricar. Next, we will do number 4 over here, and that will be smell. Smell. Olor means to smell. Olor. O-L-O-R. Olor. Actually, let me go back through these on touch before I get in here. So we got tocar, to touch. Agarrar, to grab. Suave, suave, soft. Aspero, rough. Liso, smooth. Rugoso, wrinkled. Pegajoso, pegajoso, sticky. I did the hard G, sorry. Pegajoso, sticky. Punzante, sharp. Sedoso, silky. Esponjoso, spongy. Mullido, fluffy. Hormigueo, tingle. Rozar, to touch. Entumecido, numb. Acaricar, to caress. That might be my favorite word so far that we've done. Acaricar. Olor, to smell. El perfume. Scent. So it's not perfume. Scent. La fragancia. Fragrance. That's almost a direct cognate. El hedor means stench. Guys, you don't want that word anywhere near you. Stench. And then apestoso. Apestoso. Smelly. Apestoso. Fresco. Fresh. Acre. Pungent. I feel like that's similar to the English word acrid, which is similarly used to describe something pungent, usually unpleasant. Húmedo. Húmedo. Musty. is an easy one to remember because it looks similar to the English word humid, and it has to be humid for it to be musty. Podrido is rotten. Podrido. Ahumado. Ahumado. Smoky. Ahumado. And then last but certainly not least, apestar. To stink. To stink. So we've got olor, to smell, el perfume, scent, la fragancia, fragrance, el hedor, stench, apestoso, smelly, fresco, fresh, acre, pungent, húmedo, musty, podrido, rotten, ahumado, smoky, apestar, to stink. And then last, but certainly not least, especially for my foodies out there, is taste. Taste. So, gusto is taste. Sabor is flavor. And you can take it one step further, and you can say sabroso, which is flavorful. Sabroso. If you're having a food for the first time, you would use probar, to try. To try. Delicioso. Pretty much a cognate. Delicious. Perfecto. Perfect. Perfecto. Appetitoso. Appetizing. Appetitoso. Appetizing. Dulce. Sweet. And I've seen it used, if you say dulces, you can be talking about sweets in general. A similar word to that is dulce. Sugary. And then this is a great one to end on, I feel like. Soso. Bland. How did it taste? So-so. It's pretty bland. So to repeat, we got gusto, taste, sabor, flavor, sabroso, flavorful, probar, to try, delicioso, delicious, perfecto, perfect, appetitoso, appetizing, dulce, sweet, dulzón, sugary, soso, bland. And that finishes going through sound, sight, touch, smell, and taste, the five senses. A final disclaimer, this is not every word related to that. You can always find many, many more. I just tried to compile some for you all that I thought would be relevant, interesting, and useful in some combination. So if there's more that you'd like to add, feel free to leave them in the comments for everybody's benefit. As always, if there's something that I maybe entered incorrectly for some reason, God forbid, please leave a comment on that too, because I want to make sure I'm getting my information right. I usually try and do research for these videos to make sure that I've got everything lined up. But thank you as always for watching. If there's something you'd like to see more of, please leave a comment. Anything different, I'm open to it. I read every comment.